At San Diego Comic-Con 2025, I was fortunate enough to meet two of the HIYA reps that were there, Larry Chen and Freya Howe. They were very kind in opening the display and then allowing me to get close-up shots of the prototypes and figures that were on display, but they even donated about 10 minutes of their time to do an interview with me that we're going to be covering in this video. Here's where I would like a little bit of your help. It's clear to me through the conversation that we had that HIYA Toys pays a lot of attention to YouTube and other social media channels to see what people think and what people are saying. They're going to be keeping an eye on this video and this interview being posted, and I think that this is an opportunity for you in the comment section to actually get through to HIYA regarding some of the comments about things that you like and that you're excited about, but maybe some of the things that you even have questions or concerns about. So as we go through these 12 questions, I'd like you to keep in mind that maybe it's an opportunity for you to voice your opinion in a way that you know that they're going to be listening. And of course, honey attracts more bees than vinegar, so please do be kind and respectful if there are things that you're not too stoked or happy about as you write your comments down below. So with that being said, let's jump into the interview and the first question. Burning Godzilla 1995 is shown off here for the first time. Will it be cast in solid plastic and then painted, or will it be made in translucent plastic? And the answer from Freya was, it is solid for right now. Now, I don't know if they're referring to the prototype specifically that was on display. It's entirely possible that, like their first legendary Burning Godzilla, it's going to be a solid figure rather than translucent. Of course, with the legendary figure, there was eventually a translucent version that all of us thought was better. For me personally, Burning Godzilla has to be translucent. We've seen, like, from Super 7, a version where it's solid and then painted on. I personally just think that the translucence effect looks much better for something like Burning Godzilla. Next, Tiamat has been long requested and she's here along with Warbat. Will these figures have traditional articulation cuts? Will their body be made of flexible material, or will it be a combination of both? And the answer from Freya, Warbat is made of flexible material. With Tiamat, we are still deciding how to make the figure. I covered this on Instagram already, but when I got to the booth, the Warbat was actually posed upside down. The body's just very symmetrical, so I guess they didn't catch that. I pointed it out, they had a laugh about it, took it out of the display, manipulated it back to its correct posing and put it back. So I already saw that it was made of flexible material. With Tiamat though, it's interesting, and I can see why they might be hesitant to use articulated cuts. There's a lot of sculpt and detail going on around like the fins specifically, and so breaking that up might be complicated. I will say though that I think after seeing how they've done like the tail on Hokkaido Godzilla or the necks on Ghidorah, I really do hope that they're able to figure out a way to make Tiamat not bendy wire, not made out of flexible material. Also, she's extremely long, and I don't know how they intend to pose her in the packaging, because the Skullcrawler box was gigantic because of the tail. Tiamat is all tail. She's like that long. Next, Skila is estimated to release at the end of this year. Will the figure have a support piece, or will it stand on its own? And yes, Scylla, I've heard it pronounced both ways. I prefer Skila because Scylla sounds too much like Zilla. Anyway, the answer from Freya. The Skila figure will be able to stand on its own. I know there was a prototype on the other side of the world that we saw photos of. It had collapsed over. The one at San Diego Comic-Con did not collapse. At one point she was walking on her knuckles. The figure looks really nice in terms of paint and detail. I did get a chance to see some of the articulation cuts in each of the legs. There's a lot of movement going on actually. The face does look nice. I'm not sure if the face is going to be made of flexible material. It didn't look like it to me, but they're confident that she'll be able to stand on her own. Next, you have shown off Scar King for the first time, who looks great. Are there plans to include his whip? Freya and Larry both answered this question. Freya said, you can see the stylist Scar King we're showing has the whip. I'm not sure about the Exquisite basic one. And then Larry said, this one is not final. It is possible it will have a weapon like what is seen in the movie. This one was a little bit surprising to me. I thought it would be a slam dunk, like absolutely he will come with his whip, but they're not sure. And maybe they're not sure because they don't know. I think all of us know that there will be a Scar King with a whip. It just may not be the first one, but I'm inclined to believe there will be a whip, especially based on seeing the stylist one. Next, HIYA recently revealed a Heat Ray Godzilla Evolved, and the solicitation mentions refined proportions. Will this use the same sculpt as the first Godzilla Evolved, or will it be new? Larry answered, we are still working on it. It is possible that it will have new updates as necessary. Based on the conversation, I interpreted this, and I could be wrong, as it's going to reuse some pieces from the first Godzilla Evolved, but anywhere they need to make adjustments, they will make adjustments. So I would expect that it's a little bit bigger, or at very least, as the description mentions, the proportions will change a little bit. Next, your new Kong figure uses glass eyes that look incredible. Do you hope to use this method in future figures? Larry says, yes, we think this feature makes the figures more fun and we want to continue using it. That one's pretty cut and dry. Having the HIYA Kong in hand, the glass eyes make a huge difference, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it in the future. Next, last San Diego Comic-Con, you showed off Exquisite Basic Plus Godzilla 2021 with lights. We haven't seen other figures for this line just yet. Do you have plans for other releases? Larry, we want to see the feedback on Exquisite Basic Plus and what customers think of the light up feature. We will look at sales and places like YouTube to see what customers are saying. Personally, I want to see more in Exquisite Basic Plus and want to make action figures that are special. I think that this one's pretty cut and dry as well. They want to see how it does, how people like it. I can only imagine that electronics makes a figure much more complicated to make. But I think Larry specifically, when I was talking to him, he seemed really excited about the idea of other Exquisite Basic Plus figures. And I think we can all get a sense of what they may be. I think a Burning Godzilla would make a lot of sense. A Godzilla Evolved, even a Shimo would be pretty cool. Next up, and this is a fun one. No sign of Mecha Godzilla 21. Is he not happening? Or is he not happening yet? Larry answered, it takes time and it's still part of our plan. We have no other information at this time. And mostly what I was trying to get at with this question is, like, is it a no? Is it just like you've tried and it hasn't worked out? Or is it just we haven't got there yet? And it sounds like we haven't got there yet. So it's a form of assurance, though we don't know what the time frame looks like. Next, there are many figures originally scheduled to be released in 2025. After Beast Glove Kong, do you have a rough sense of which figures will be released next? Larry responded, there is no schedule right now, but I think the Heat Ray Godzilla 91 Hokkaido figure will be next. Godzilla 2002 and Mecha Godzilla 1993 were redesigned, and they will need more time. Nothing too crazy or unique here. It's interesting to hear that there is no real schedule. We all sort of assume that GMK and Godzilla 2000, or is it Godzilla 99? Yeah, Godzilla 1999. We kind of assume that those guys will be next out the door after Heat Ray 91, but at this point they're not committing to that. Next, has HIYA thought about doing accessory sets with inclusions like vehicles or buildings? Larry responded, such as buildings to display with the figures? I'm not sure if we will do that. This has been an area with Tamashii Nations that they haven't touched accessory sets for a long time. I mean, Super 7's kind of doing it with Super Kaiju. It just seems like companies don't see the value add in building pieces and things like that, which is great for companies like Titanic Creations to swoop in and do like a whole cityscape set. But including buildings or accessories into something that's much more cost effective and budget friendly like HIYA, I think would be nice to see in the future. The next question's about Monster Hunter. You have Monster Hunter Nurigante on display. It's a massive figure with a high level of sculpted detail. Is this the size you expect for the final release, or will it be smaller? Larry responded, we believe this will be the final scale of the figure and that it will be a similar size to King Ghidorah. This figure is gigantic in person and it has a ton of spikes on it. I think it might actually have 100 spikes or more. When I had a chance to look at it, it does seem that the wings will be made of a flexible material. The tail is very, very long. It's just a really big figure. And so for it to come in around the same size or volume as King Ghidorah, it's not really surprising to me. I don't own any of the Monster Arts Monster Hunter figures. I don't really follow Monster Hunter as a franchise, but it's rule of cool. I can look at that thing and say, yeah, that thing looks very impressive. And lastly, are you working on other monsters, or are you waiting to see how customers like this one, being Nurigante? And then Larry responded, like Exquisite Basic Plus, we want to see what customers around the world think of this first release and what monsters they would like to see in the line. So whenever that first release comes out, I think that they'll be paying close attention to how people like that figure. Now, after the interview wrapped, there was something else that we talked about, and that had to do with event exclusives. Obviously, you're in San Diego Comic-Con, you're surrounded by people selling exclusive figures. And so they were asking me what I thought about, what I would think about an event exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con. And what I told them was basically three things regarding event exclusives. One is that the typical trend is that you have exclusives at the physical show that are, you know, your first chance to get them. So if you're at the show, you're the first person to have them in hand. before going online with some limited inventory. 2 actually has to do with the Burning Godzilla event exclusive that was released late last year. We talked about that one a little bit, and I told them that I think the main point of friction with that release with people is that it wasn't communicated that there would be a chance for other people not at the event to get the figure later. And so they might have gone to a place like eBay and spent hundreds of dollars on this release just for it to come out on the HIYA website later. And so what I told them was, whatever they do decide to do, as long as they communicate the plan to customers, I think that they'll be in good standing with the customer base. Again, they were really great to talk to. They were super generous in letting me get these close-ups and giving me about 10 or 15 minutes to talk to them about their releases. And so if you'd like to be heard by HIYA Toys, do leave a comment in the comment section down below. It could be about this interview, it could be their products in general, or something that's coming up. That's gonna be it from me, folks, so do let me know what you thought of this interview. Let me know what comments you'd like to pass along to HIYA. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye!